In this video, we're going to discuss mini activity 2.4, which is where you are going to be beginning your PowerPoint presentations using SmartArt. If you're not familiar with SmartArt, it is a very special tool that is available in Microsoft PowerPoint, and I will walk you through how to actually access and complete the SmartArt in this video. Before we get to that, though, I just want to discuss exactly what should be happening for your presentation. So you are simply starting the presentation process in this mini activity. You are not expected to have the entire presentation completed. You only need to complete a title page plus one individual slide per person. Once this mini activity is done, you will then add to this activity to complete your full PowerPoint presentation for the final project. So you will first develop a title page for your PowerPoint presentation. This should include the title of your business proposal, along with the names of your group members and any pertinent details such as your course number and section and anything else that you feel like you need to have on there. Each group member will select a specific portion of the business proposal. Maybe that would be the current situation, which could, in theory, be either one slide or three or four slides, depending on how you want to present it. Your specific objectives, which again could be one slide or two slides if you wanted to do smart art goals as its own, and then the full objectives as its own. Proposed solutions could be it could be one slide, but that's going to be pretty tight to try to get it all on one slide. More likely, proposed solutions is going to be three different slides: explanation, implementation plan, cost analysis, and then, of course, your conclusion. You have some freedom here. You don't have to do these exact slides. It really depends on the way that you plan to present your material. Will depend on which slides that you use, but this is pretty common. So of those different slides of what you want to do, that is how you're going to determine who's going to do what portion. Okay. So keep that in mind. And if you have more questions about that, let me know. But I think that once you get started, you're going to see it kind of flows pretty easy. Then you're going to create smart art on your slide. Okay. Each person is responsible for their own slide. You will submit only one PowerPoint presentation that has everybody's slides on it. However, each individual will create their own slide and you will be graded on your individual slide, not your group deck. Okay. So for this assignment, I will walk you through how to use SmartArt, so don't stress about that, but it is required that you use SmartArt. If you fail to use SmartArt, then you will receive a 0 for the assignment, no matter how wonderful your slide looks, okay? We're learning how to use SmartArt in this activity. You will also need to make sure that each person's name is on the bottom right corner so that I know who to give the grade to, but you will remove those names for the final PowerPoint presentation. The background theme needs to be the same for everyone, okay? So that's part of why we submit this as one group deck so that background image is the same for everyone. You need to have a light background with dark text. I know a lot of you love to use that dark background with a light text. However, when you're actually presenting, here's the rule. So when you are presenting online, so in Zoom, for example, or you're presenting in a room that is lit, you want to use a light background with dark text. If you are in a dark room, kind of like a TED Talks, then you would be presenting with a dark background with light text. As we are doing this via the web, we have to have a light background with dark text. Okay. Okay, so if you have questions about that, please let me know. So here's just kind of an example of the structure. Slide one should be your title slide, and that'll have your title of your business proposal, your group members' names, and then any other relevant information, such as your course number and your section. Then you will have each person's individual slide. Those slides will include smart art along with it filled in with all the information, and then the person's name in the lower right corner. Okay, then the second person, smart art, and the name in the lower right corner. And you'll duplicate that or repeat that for every group member. You only need to submit one slide per group member for this assignment. Then later you can add additional slides for the final PowerPoint. Again, Just reiterating, you do not have to have your entire PowerPoint done at this point, only one slide per person. Then you will add to this deck for the final. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Okay, so you're going to create a PowerPoint. You're going to find a background that matches or is appropriate for your business proposal. And you want to make sure that it's got those lighter colors, that it's a lighter background, and then you're going to use darker text. Okay, you're going to include your presentation title page. You're going to have your group members' names, your course number and section. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but it does have to have that information in it. Then we're going to start creating our slides, okay? So whatever slide you want, you can go here, you're going to add a slide, you can add any kind of slide you want and make the adjustments, okay? So let's say I was doing current situation. So right here, I would do, type in that current situation right here. And now instead of adding text, I'm actually going to insert and I'm going to go over here to SmartArt. Now, once we get to SmartArt, you can see there are a ton of options, and you need to pick a SmartArt that actually makes sense for the material that you're actually trying to present. So, for my current situation, maybe I want to narrow down my style, right? I just want to look at what kind would be like lists, or maybe I have a process, right? And I want to show the movement of that process cycle, right? If it goes in a circle and it's a constant problem, for example, right? Barriers can often be a cycle. Maybe I have a hierarchy, right? So there's lots and lots of different smart art to choose from, and you just simply need to pick the one that works best for you. So for this particular example, let's go ahead and we'll click on this one and we will add that in. All right. So here you can see it adds it in, and I already have some really great graphics happening, and I didn't even have to do anything for it. And then I'm going to start typing here into these text boxes, and that's going to allow me to add in text to that um, smart art. So you can see once I click on it, now I've added in my text and I can change it at any time. And the great thing here is as I delete, it changes the font size, it changes the number of tabs because I didn't have as many. Or if I want to add more, let's say I needed a fourth one, then I could simply hit enter and it's going to automatically add that fourth one in there for me and fix all of the spacing. It's going to fix all of the sizing. And so it really just makes it nice and easy. Okay. All right, so the next thing we want to look at here is the fact, what did I do? There. So this is how it looks when I first added everything in. Okay, so I typed in everything, it changed all the spacing, so all of the font is the right size. And then I added in my images. Now, as I look at these images, I can see I obviously have some problems here, right? It's not even, it doesn't make sense. I need to adjust and fix that. And so, how do you do that? You actually come right here into the image itself, and then you can right click and go down to font graphic. And then here in the picture image section, I can actually recolor it to be able to work well with what I want it to do. All right. And I can do that with all of them, no matter whether it was already color or not. And I can determine what I want this to look like. And so I don't have to just be stuck with whatever's there. I can make it look more even, make it make more sense. And so I have a lot of freedom over that. Now, one thing I really want you to understand is that when you are creating PowerPoint presentations, it's super important that you don't have full sentences and full paragraphs because all that does is that distracts your audience. A PowerPoint presentation should truly be about giving them a visual connection to all of the material that you are trying to present to them. If you have all these words and paragraphs on a PowerPoint page, then they're so busy reading and trying to understand what they're reading that they're not listening and paying attention to what you're saying. And so all of the persuasiveness in your voice, all of the added content, they're missing because they're busy trying to read. So you just want bullet points that are going to help you remember what to talk about and give your audience a connection to the material. All right. So once you've made those adjustments, you can see you have a beautiful PowerPoint presentation with very low or minimal effort. Now, maybe I want to expand further on each of these and create their own PowerPoint so that I can then talk in more depth about it and give more information. So, one thing I might do is just start with a very blank document. And then from there, add in my smart art. And here you can see by clicking on any section of it, you can open up this window, or there's a little arrow on this left side that will open and close it. And one thing that you can see is on this side, if I were to add in, hit enter, and I can add in more of these boxes to adjust, and it's going to make simple changes in order to fix or correct any sizing issue, which is really, really great. Okay. So you can make all of those adjustments. In addition, you can actually click here and double click on inside, and you can change the way that it looks. So if you don't like the way that these are lining up, you don't like the style, if you want it to be more prominent, more 3D, whatever the case may be, you can make those changes there. You can also change the color. So maybe you want this to, have a different color on the top than you do on the bottom. So you can make all kinds of color changes. And then, of course, you can also do recoloring on your own. These are just some that are suggested, so you can make adjustments as needed. See how quick and easy you can make these changes, and it automatically does it for you. So you're not stuck trying to figure out all of the boxes and trying to get them all the exact same size. It automatically does that for you. So then you can simply add in the information that you want. So maybe this is going to be the importance of student activities, and we're going to talk about how some of that research material has come into play. So you might put a major topic here, and then some of your statistics here. That's just an example of one way that you could use this. And guys, you're not required to use this specific one. If you want to change this up, if you want to make adjustments to the way that this works, the layout, if you want to use a completely different smart art, you can absolutely do that. One thing I really like about this is even after you put all of your content in here, you can try out different ones to see which ones look the best and which ones actually allow you to walk through and read the material or present the material in a way that makes the most sense. So you can really play with it even after you have put in all of your information, which makes it super handy, and you can make beautiful, very appropriate slides in a very short amount of time utilizing smart art. So, last but not least, I just want to show you how to insert a text box right here. So we're going to go to insert and go to text box. And then here on the bottom right corner, you can add your name. That way you have that on there for grading purposes. If there is no name on the slide, that person will not get a grade. It'll be a 0, okay? Because it will be assumed that you did not complete the project. So make sure that that name is there. When you finish your full final deck for the final PowerPoint presentations, make sure that you go in and you actually remove all of those names. Those do need to come off for the final presentation. All right, guys, I really hope you enjoy Smart Art. I love using it. It makes things very quick and very simple. And you can make a lot of adjustments very, very quickly in order to make it really look and present the way that you want it to present. All right, if you do have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, have a great time learning how to use Smart Art, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.